And the last thing, the most important piece, is we're going to take the North and never give it back.
I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
The Detroit Lions just decimated the Chicago Bears. A great statement win for Detroit for so many reasons, which I'll get into. But for Chicago, it's just sad. They have their head coach, quarterback, GM getting paid millions of dollars, and they've all had some more or less cocky remarks during the offseason, and for that performance to be put on tape is just embarrassing. And I think this is a great example of why the Bears just aren't a good organization, because good teams don't have sound bites from players and management saying that they're close or championships are coming. They just stay quiet and prove it on the field. Anyway, to the game, Detroit came out firing. Brown left Stevenson in the dust and picked up 34 on the first play of the game. They ran play action on the first 2 plays, and Goff had all day to throw. Great job by the offensive line, only allowing 2 pressures till last week's 12. Now, was that just because they were playing the Bears? Maybe, but nonetheless, great performance blocking from the Lions. Much improved, and not just by the offensive line, but the whole team. You can see St. Brown, key block on Gibbs' touchdown run, and had some later in the game. So, John Morton's opening drive script worked, and Ben Johnson's did as well. Moving the ball down the field, some nice long runs, and then Campbell in zone forgetting to pick up Odunze, handing the Bears a free touchdown. However, the one positive which you would see consistently throughout the game is every screen or dump off was instantly met with a Lions open field tackle for minimal or negative gain. And after that, hopefully Campbell won't let that happen again. At least it was against the Bears. Moving on, Jack Fox and then Torrey Taylor would exchange punts, but not without a phenomenal catch from Amon-Ra St. Brown in close coverage with Jalen Johnson. It didn't matter who the Bears put on St. Brown. He always found a way to get open. Honestly, had the best game of his career. 115 receiving yards on 11 targets, 9 receptions, and 3 touchdowns. And obviously, that's not without Goff having some great ball placement in this game. And Goff had some really great throws on the run in this one, moving out to his right with the pressure getting there and still finding the open man. You love to see Goff getting mobile and finding completions, because when the Lions play some of these better teams on the remaining schedule, they are going to need that. Lions offense back with the ball. David Montgomery would get into the end zone for his first touchdown of the season, giving the Lions a 7-point lead. The Bears would start moving the ball down the field, but on the second to last play of the first quarter, I call this the foreshadowing of the turning point of the game. Brian Branch levels DeAndre Swift, hits the ball with his helmet, and forces a fumble. And I'll keep saying it, Brian Branch is the best playmaker on that defense. He's everywhere, can play anywhere. And that was a huge play because it looked like the Bears were going to tie that game up 14-14. Huge play by Branch, and then great recovery by Campbell. The Lions' second play of their new drive, Goff would take a deep shot to Jamo, but it'd be incomplete. This is a still shot from the very first play of the game, and it just shows that even by taking those deep shots and having Jamo on the field, even if he doesn't catch the ball, which he has some nice long catches in this one, but just by having Jameson Williams on the field is a game changer. I keep saying it. He is a key piece of this offense. He stretches the defense vertically, opening up the middle of the field, and then that also helps in the run game with these safeties having to play so deep to respect that deep ball. This gives Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery so much space when they get into the second level. Bears would get the ball back, but a pass deflection on 2nd and 1 by Tyleik Williams would force a 3rd and 1, which would lead into a 4th and 1 turnover on downs. Just phenomenal. I always talk about the Lions having playmakers on this team, and Tyleik Williams is looking like a stud and one of them. Brad Holmes just doesn't miss in the draft. It's looking like he hit again. Tyleik would have another pass deflection later in this game. And if you look at the best defenses in the NFL, they always have a player or multiple who can go up and swat the ball, take passes out of the picture. The Chargers, Eagles, Packers. And if Tyleik can be that guy, that is huge. And Ali McNeil's not even back. But this turnover on downs and the forced fumble weren't the turning point in the game, because Jake Bates would go on to miss the field goal, and the Bears are back with the ball and can tie this thing up. First play of the drive, holding penalty. Second play of the drive, short run. Third play of the drive, incomplete pass, a personal foul, and Hutch gets hurt. Hopefully he's okay, but he returned to the game later. And then fourth play of the drive, Ben Johnson's calling up the play, and Caleb Williams just throws it up, and Kirby Joseph comes down with the interception. Great interception by the GOAT. Great celebration by the team. But that was the turning point of the game. Like, Caleb Williams, what are we doing? You're not playing Oregon State anymore. It's 2nd and 32. 32, 30% of the football field. And you roll out and throw a jump ball where there's not even a receiver in sight. Just insane. It felt like the Lions still had control of the game at this point, but there's 10 minutes left in the second quarter and you're only down by 7. You could tie this thing up. You could make it a 4-point game. It's just insane. He was the most hyped up prospect of all time, and he has a 5-14 record now and makes plays like that. Detroit's offense then easily turned the pick into the rare Brock Wright touchdown. Caleb Williams would get the ball back and drive his team down the field for another Odunze touchdown. Not great for the Lions defense, but they would only give up 7 points in the second half. And with just seconds left on the clock, Goff would throw it up to Isaac Tesla, who would bring it down with one hand for his second NFL catch ever to set up a St. Brown touchdown, who put Tyreek Stevenson in a blender. Just an insane catch from Tesla. When it comes to Brad Holmes drafting wide receivers, apparently he is just the best. Tesla's first catch is a one-hander and will be one of the best touchdown catches of the season, which makes him one of 12 wide receivers to have their first reception be a touchdown. And his second reception is a 23-yarder one-handed to set up a touchdown with just seconds on the clock. And what makes this more wild is of those 12 players to catch a touchdown on their first NFL reception, Jameson Williams with a 40-yarder, and his second catch was a 64-yard touchdown. Haters will say it's not true. Fuck the Packers and the refs, and fuck them extra this year because they're really good. Also, after Tesla's catch, I didn't love Ben Johnson and the Bears starting to walk to the locker room. To me, it was obvious there should be time remaining on the clock, but also if the other head coach is arguing it, there's always a chance the refs could change something. And that was probably another reason why the Bears defense sucked on the last play, because they went into halftime mode for a second and then had to go back out on the field and guard Amon-Ra St. Brown. But enough about the Sun God, because the second half was all about J-Mo. He put on a clinic. Brad Holmes had this vision 4 years ago when he was hurt, and Williams keeps impressing week after week. That long reception set up another Jake Bates field goal attempt. This one he didn't brick. Get it? But Jameson Williams really put the Bears away. He got them down the field fast on his first reception. Another PBU by Tyleik Williams. And then Jameson Williams, with his super speed, scores a touchdown, and Ben Johnson's offense just had to keep going back out into the field and sucking. And it didn't help that the Lions defense really stepped it up in the second half, putting pressure on the quarterback, getting sacks, breaking up passes. Arnold had his first interception, but was called back by a weak roughing the passer call. And Kelvin Sheppard really showed that he wasn't joking around by being fired up during his press conferences. It was real, and he had that defense ready to go. The game was over halfway through the third quarter, and you know it's bad when second-string quarterbacks and players come out onto the field with 6 minutes left of the fourth quarter. In the end, the Lions proved all the doubters wrong. They're the same team from last year with the same culture, even with the coaching changes, and they proved all the people that freaked out after week 1 wrong. Again, Kelvin Sheppard loved his press conferences. He really had the defense going. I'm excited to see what they can do in the future. John Morton had the offense going. They were firing on all cylinders. Everybody was putting in work. So Dan Campbell's line showed they can beat up the bad teams, really run up the score. They're going to be tested again by the second best team in the AFC Monday Night Football against the Ravens. And the Lions, they probably played the best team in the NFC. The Packers are that good. But nonetheless, a great NFC North win. You know Ben Johnson was hurting on the inside coaching that game. I don't have any hate towards Ben Johnson, though. I would rather be a head coach than an offensive coordinator. And Caleb Williams does have talent, but Caleb and Ben Johnson did get put in their place during that game.